You may not believe this, but right now, the Model 3 is the cheapest it has ever been. And it's kind of interesting because since the turn of the year, the Model 3 has been somewhat neglected when it comes to incentives. We haven't really had much for inventory discounts. The referral program reset from $1,000 off to only 500, and that has all changed this month. So not only has the referral program updated only for the Model 3, it's under specific rules, a different type of thing that they've done in the past. More specifics on that later, but more importantly, it is now finally cheaper to lease a Model 3 than it is a Model Y. That has not been the case since the beginning of this year. Actually, since really a good chunk of last year, it was cheaper to lease a Model Y than it was a Model 3. But because of some of these new incentives, it's actually not only cheaper to lease a Model 3, but even purchase, because of the way the referral program works, is even cheaper as well. But I want to show you these numbers because it's going to blow you away how cheap a Model 3 can be today. So with that, let's head over to the computer. We're going to dive into all those details right now. So heading over here on Tesla's website, we can see Model Y leasing at $299 a month. That is an incentive that is being applied to get that to $299. And of course, we have the refresh Model Y coming anytime now, but the Model 3, $249 a month lease. It's now finally cheaper to lease a Model 3 than it is a Model Y. There's more to this story than just $249 a month, and I'm going to show you all of that right now because over here, when we look at what benefits are available on the Model 3, here's kind of the breakdown. It's only the Model 3 that gets this specific line item added. Everything else, we're talking about $500 off your purchase of a new Model Y or Model 3. And for the Model 3, it's actually only the lease that gets $500 off. And that is because if you purchase with cash or finance, you will get $2,500 off on a new Model 3. So this is a big chunk of change right here. And except for the case of inventory discounts, this is the biggest discount that we've seen on the Model 3 for a long, long time. And then, of course, we still have access to the military purchase program, which is $1,000 off all Tesla models right now. But why does that matter? Well, we're going to dive through these numbers and we're going to look specifically at the base Model 3 because that's going to get us the cheapest option. And it starts at $42,490. Not only are we going to look at the Model 3, but we're also going to be looking at the Model Y, and it starts at $44,990. So it's $2,500 more than the Model 3, which has been the case for a long time. But this is where things get a little bit interesting, and we're going to start with the Model 3 because there's actually a good deal to be had to purchase a Model 3 as well with that new referral offer. So at $42,490, the EV tax credit is qualified on both purchase and lease. The $7,500 is automatically applied on a lease regardless of your qualification. For purchase, you do have to qualify for the $7,500, but it can be taken at time of purchase. So $34,990. A referral credit is where things change quite a bit. We get an extra $2,000 when you purchase a Model 3 plus a military credit if you qualify. Talking about $31,490 for the Model 3. This is a killer deal for the base Model 3, which is now the long-range rear-wheel drive. That long-range rear-wheel drive comes with 363 miles of range, huge range, has a 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds, still includes the same interior that we got with the refresh on the Model 3. So we have a screen in the back, we have ventilated seats up front, we have ambient lighting, all these wonderful things that the refresh brought is all included in this refresh Model 3. When you break that down into a monthly payment, we're talking $480 a month on a purchase for the Model 3, and that's on 72 months, the base 5.99% and $39.99 at signing, all straight from Tesla. But on the lease, $165 a month. That is crazy cheap. And this does not include any inventory discounts. So you don't have to hunt for this car. This is just the base model, Model 3 long-range rear-wheel drive, $165 a month. So if you were lucky enough to find an inventory discount, which we'll get into that later, it could be even less. Over on the Model Y, we're talking $44,990, $7,500 tax credit, of course, $37,490. Now they both get the same $500 referral credit plus $1,000 in military program, $35,990 on the Model Y. The difference now, we're talking $554 a month on a purchase, and that's 72 months, 5.99%, and 39.99 due at signing, and then 194 a month for a 36-month lease on the Model Y, which is still a really good price for the Model Y. That's still sub $200 before taxes and fees. And with taxes and fees, depending on your area, you're probably talking in the ballpark of about $210, $220 a month on a brand new Model Y, which is just crazy cheap. Looking at these all side by side, this kind of gives you that breakdown. We're talking about $70 difference, $75 difference in a purchase because of that extra $2,500 on top of being $2,500 cheaper. And for the lease, we're talking another 30 bucks cheaper for the Model 3 compared to the Model Y. This is crazy cheap to be getting that rate. And I've been tracking these prices for a long time. And here's really what we're looking at. At the end of the year, we had some of our best pricing that you could get with all incentives applied. And the Model 3 came at $32,990. That's about as cheap as you could get it. It's now, with this deal, $1,500 cheaper than the cheapest it was at the end of last year. The Model Y at these current prices, it's $500 more expensive than it was previously. But the good news is we can make up for this on inventory discounts. Not so much on the Model 3, but again, we'll get into that in a moment. All right, so here we are back on Tesla's website. Let's go check out the inventory because this is where things are very different than what we saw at the end of last year, which is kind of the big difference. So essentially, when we're looking at the Model Y, surprisingly, you can actually get a discount on the base trim Model Y. It's $900, and that seems to be consistent for the several zip codes that I checked. About 900 bucks. This one I think is 500 bucks. So between $500 and $1,000 off is what we're looking at for non-demo, just normal inventory Model Ys right now. That's the long-range rear-wheel drive. Now, if you go with the all-wheel drive, the lease deal is nowhere near the same, but the discounts on those do bump up. Talking about 2,800 bucks here. We're talking about $2,400. I've seen upwards of 4,000 plus dollars off. There you have $5,100. This is not a demo model or anything like that. So $5,100 right there, 5,000 bucks. You can save a ton of money on an inventory all-wheel drive, of course, but that still won't get you into the same classification as the rear-wheel drive when it comes to the payment. And over on the Model 3, we don't have any discounts that I can find, certainly on the long-range rear-wheel drive, none, not even 450 bucks like we saw on the Model Y. And that is because of this new incentive where they're just directly discounting all Model 3s the same. So if you purchase, you can get $2,500. If you lease, you can get $500. How do we get to $165 a month? Well, it's important to call out that the base down payment on the lease at 36 months, 10,000 miles is a $29.99. But if you bump this up to the maximum down payment, in this case, 5,214 is the max you can put down on the base trim Model 3 if you have the military purchase program and the referral included. That gets you to $165. At $29.99, we're at $230 a month. So it is a huge savings to go all the way down. It's $65 a month cheaper. And to get this money, all you have to do is make 10 referrals. That's it. Nobody's going to hand you $5,000. So don't expect to just be handed this. You have to do something to get this. Go to your local delivery center and talk to people who are already there considering buying a new Tesla. I guarantee you, you can find a number of people that can benefit from using your referral code. If you get 10 people, you'll have $5,000 to put towards this, and that won't be money out of your own pocket, bringing you to $165 a month. The same is the case over here on the Model Y. Again, $29.99 is the normal down payment, and that gets you to $280 a month, but at the maximum you can put down, $59.64, that gets you to the $194. So again, get 10 referrals, have $5,000 in cash to put down towards this. That's how you get to sub $200 on a Model Y lease. But this $165 for a Model 3 is just insane. This is so much car for the money. And this car is making a ton of noise in the industry. It is an amazing update to the suspension. It's super quiet, very comfortable, tons of range, has the same battery as the long-range all-wheel drive. So you have peak charging performance from Tesla. There's a lot to like about the refresh Model 3, and at $165 a month, everybody can afford this car. So looking at this, the Model Y is very similar in price to what we had at the end of last year, but the Model 3 is a whole new level of affordability. $165 a month. And again, this is after Tesla had made some changes. So previously, I had shown you this hack on how to basically get a Tesla for free. The next day, the maximum down payment was cut by like 50%. So it's no longer possible to get insanely crazy numbers that are beyond unbelievable, but $165 a month for quite possibly the best car on the market today, that is a heck of a deal. So let me know in the comments, what are you thinking? Are you just going to wait out for refresh Model Y to come with more options than just the launch edition? Or is this maybe the push you needed to pull the trigger on a new refresh Model 3? I think it's a great deal and a fantastic car for many people. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. I thank you so much for joining us today, and I can't wait to catch you on the next one.